Hello, hello, hello. So, I want to talk about something that everybody seems to have glossed over. We've seen plenty of material being put up by content creators around the retaliation card, the monk card detachments. You've seen battle reports from all around the world. There's only Townick from Tabletop that's actually put on a Cruit show, and I love it. But that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about the Kroot Detachment. Because I think it's fundamentally cracked in terms of broken, super competitive, and I'm going to tell you why throughout the rest of this video. So, if you think about the Kroot, so Kroot are a horde-based style army. And 40k has gone through lots of changes with balanced data slates, competitive updates. GW done a very good kind of job of keeping the finger on the pulse to a certain degree and making sure that it all comes full circle. But there's a pattern in 40k that I've noticed being on the competitive scene for a while, which is that when players are designing lists, they tend to stat check people on a few fronts. They'll stat check them on bodies, so you'll see a lot of the MSU builds, or they'll just go full on, here's loads of like cultists, cursed cultist spam, or orcs everywhere, or Tyranids, endless swarm. So you've got the stat check on that front. The other stat check is on vehicles, so you'll see Marine builds and the Black Templars with just all the vehicles. You'll have Chaos War Dogs and Chaos Knights, and they just stat check on that front. Now, Kroot can do both. So, if you look at the Kroot Detachment, one of its biggest weaknesses is dealing with vehicles, because they don't really have any ways of tackling armour. They have lots of bodies, lots of cool tricks, lots of toys, but they don't have any way of cracking open tough vehicles. Well, that's where the Tau come in. So, I'm going to talk to you today about how you can combine a Horde-style army and also add in all of the anti-mech and the anti-vehicle. And it's crazy good. And I've had now, 5 games with it? And I think I'm on 495 points out of 500. It's just funny how broken Kroot can be. So let's have a look into a bit of the detail when it comes to the detachment rules and so on and so forth. So the detachment rules for the Kroot hunting pack, nice and easy. Each time a Kroot model from your army makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll if that target of the attack is below its starting strength, and add 1 to the wound roll as well if the target of the attack is below half strength. So the first part of that detachment rule is going to come in quite a lot. And then the second part is situational, but it can kind of be cute. +1 to wound for Kroot units is no joke, but you'll find that the first half of that comes into play more often. So in the second part of the detachment, so you get 2 rules. Skirmish fighters. Kroot models from your army have a 6+ invulnerable save against melee attacks, and a 5+ invulnerable save against ranged attacks. So again, first one's, again cute, 6+ invuln. It's going to get you not very far, but it's at least something. But the 5+ invulnerable save is substantial. Being able to save a third of those attacks and just have a 5+ invuln, regardless of AP, is really, really good, especially when you think about the amount of Kroot that you're going to take in this detachment. And it's all of the Kroot. It's not specific to just the carnivores. It's everything that's Kroot gets an invuln. 6 up in combat, 5 up against range. And I think that's really, 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 really powerful. So, the enhancements are really, really good as well. You've got a couple of key ones that I'll talk about now, but then I'll give you some examples of how you can combine it with certain characters and why you should put it on certain characters as well. So we look at the Kroot Hawk Flock. Kroot model only. Range weapons equipped by models in the bearer's unit have the ignores cover ability, and the enemy units that are set up on the battlefield as reinforcements cannot be set up within 12-inch horizontally of the bearer. So it's like Darkstrider's ability, and you're just going, nope, I don't want anything to do with your deep strikes. Always very powerful in 40k, can come in really handy against units that can deep strike, and just being able to protect your backfield, and especially stopping against things like what are they called? Interceptors, and also the Tau Retaliation Cadre with a 3-inch deep strike, so it's really handy. So, I think this Nomadic Hunter is one of the most powerful ones. So, Cruit Trail Shaper only, while the Bearer is leading a unit, add 3 inches to the move characteristics of that model in the unit, and ranged weapons equipped by models in the unit have the Assault ability. So look, Assault, okay, you can advance and shoot. The Kroot guns aren't exactly, breaking the bank in terms of the power ability, but they're it can help you with doing actions, because then you can advance, and because you're still eligible to shoot, you can do actions. But the add 3 to the move characteristic is really good. So, people have been talking about the whole scout move in Montcar, where you can have a broadside unit, scout move 5, auto advance 6, so it's going 16 inches. With this Kroot unit, if you added a Trail Shaper, you're going to have your scout move of 7, then you're going to move normally 7, but add 3 to it, that's 10. So that Kroot unit's moving 10 inches plus a scout move of 7. So that's 17 inches. So that means you are 7 inches away from the opponent's deployment line, and then you could charge. Now, if you put in, say, a Flesh Terror, which I'll go into in a second when we go over the characters, suddenly you can have like a big 20-man Kroot unit that's got a Trail Shaper in to give them the reactive moves and the redeploys and the plus 3-inch move, and you've got a Flesh Terror in there that's going to obviously push up the combat efficiency of the unit, and if you happen to kill something, you get a 5-up feel no pain. So that unit can be your little go first death ball and really put the pressure on and get that board control early. So, root carved weapons. Again, I'd rank this very highly because there's a particular combo you can do. So the enhancement is root carved weapons, Kroot Warshaper model only. All weapons equipped by the bearer have the precision and devastating wounds ability. Make note of the devastating wounds and the precision, because there is a really good combo. And yes, that's right, the beloved model that's got a bow and a glaive is actually probably one of the best assassins in the game when you combine it with a few things that I'll show you later. So, the Borth Rod Gland, Kroot Flesh Shaper only. While the bearer is leading a unit, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, an unmodified hit roll of a 5+ scores a critical hit. He is key to making this 20 blob of Kroot quite powerful in combat, because there will be a combination where you get sustained hits, and there's a bit that you got your Kroot unit can make use out of full rerolls to hit with +1 to hit if you time it all and synchronize it to some of the army rules, and I'll go over it in a second. But you can have an entire Kroot unit doing 40 attacks with sustained hits on 5s. Again, pretty cool. So in terms of these, the 3 ones that I always take in my Kroot Detachment is the Nomadic Hunter, the Root Carved Weapons. In order, I'd say I'd go with the Nomadic Hunter, the Borth Rod Gland, and then it's between the Root Carved Weapons and the Kroot Hawk Flock. So let's get on to some of the characters. Yeah, and I'll talk you through my logic in how you can combine them together with those enhancements. And yeah, I'll show you some secret Kroot spice. So I've just gone past them. Give me one moment. There we are. Right. Okay. So we look at the Kroot Warshaper. So with the root carved weapons, or whatever they're called, that gives you precision and devastating wounds. Have a look at the dart bow and tri-blade. So this is a ranged attack. It's anti-infantry 3+, assault heavy, 24-inch range, D3+1 attacks. Now it hits on 4s, but remember the detachment rule. So if they're below starting strength, you get +1 to hit. So it's going to be hitting on 3s. If you happen to stay still, you can be hitting on 2s. So strength 4, AP 0, damage 2. Now, think about devastating wounds and precision. So your anti-infantry 3+, so you proc your devastating wounds on a 3+, so the strength is irrelevant. If if you're targeting an infantry model, you don't care about the strength because you're anti-infantry 3+. Now, what you can do is put this Warshaper in a Farstalker unit. Now, the Farstalker unit is a specialised Kroot infiltrating unit, and they have bounty hunters. At the start of the battle, select one unit from your opponent's army. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack against that unit, that target has the lethal hits and precision. Now, obviously, you don't want the lethal hits on the Warshaper because you want to kind of have as many opportunities to proc your anti-infantry 3+ devastating wounds. But the fact that the Kroot Firestalkers will also shoot with precision helps neuter their characters. So to give you an example, think about Necrons with their Wraith unit with the Technomancer. You could suddenly have this Firestalker unit with this character kill their Technomancer. Anti-infantry 3+, devastating wounds. You can ignore cover because Peshra, the bird that comes with one of the Kroot ones in the Firestalker, just gives the whole unit ignore cover. And you just go to town. So you'll be doing, you got a Flamer, the D6, strength 4 AP 1/1 damage. Then you've got 9, so it'd be in rapid fire 18 shots at strength 4, no AP, ignoring cover, lethal, precision. And then you've got the D3+1 shots. Sounds good. But you can make it more powerful if you use the Lone Spear. So the Lone Spear has the advanced scouting rules. So each time this model makes a ranged attack that hits an enemy unit, until the end of the turn, each time another Kroot model from your army makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, you can re-roll the hit roll. So how about have Tetra re-rolls for your Kroot? So if you think about this layering, you can have the Lone Spear shoot, then they'll be below starting strength. So then you'll get full re-rolls to hit. You'll have precision and lethal, and you'll have devastating wounds, anti-infantry 3+, D3+1, hitting on 3s with full re-rolls with your Warshaper that just picks out the Technomancer and goes, goodbye. So you've got a Kroot Assassin, baby. Yeah, and he looks the part. Come on, the model is amazing. He's got his bow, he's got his little glaive, or his shuriken as I like to call it. It's just so cool. And this is the kind of the things that I was just looking through and seeing the different combinations. So, yeah, there's a bit of layering to it, but it's fun if you pull it off, right? It means that they can't just throw their characters out, you know, without a care in the world. They have to be careful. And let's not, like, gloss over the fact that the Kroot Lone Spear has a blast javelin that's 18-inch range, D6, strength 10, AP 2 damage, blast. This guy's a beast. So, that's one of the combinations with the Warshaper. But the good thing about the Warshaper is he's got a lot of utility. One of them is the Root of Honor, and I really like this because the Root of Honor, once per battle, at the start of any phase, you can select one friendly Kroot unit that is battle shot, and within 12 of this model, that unit is no longer battle shot. So a core mechanic of the detachment are the stratagems. Now, the main one is a 2 CP battle tactic, just bring back the units that's been killed. So it's a regenerative stratagem for your Kroot, which is essential. So if you were suddenly found yourself battle shot, he can just go, nope, get back in the fight. And then it allows you to regen the unit. Now, War Leader, once per battle round, one unit from your army with this ability can be targeted with a stratagem for 0 CP, even if another unit from your army has already been targeted with that stratagem this phase. So disclaimer, I know there's a lot of talk of like, oh, you could regen 2 units. No, that is not the case. It will be FAQ'd. It's not designed to be played that way, in my personal opinion. I think it will be ridiculously broken, being able to bring back 2 Kroot units for 2 CP, because one you do it for free, the other one you pay for. So no. Regenning 1 unit, and you can pull it off and do it for free because of the sequencing. So you have to kill the Kroot, and you just go, okay, cool, well, I'm bringing back the unit. You can't bring back the Shapers, but if they just killed the Kroot and the Shapers are left alive, you can still do it for free. So, but apparently that's can be argued either way as well. So we need a bit of clarification from GW and the FAQ team for this, but as it stands, rules as written, I believe that you can do it for free, but definitely cannot do it for 2 units. But I think that's going to be changed. So, he's just really good. Nice model, beautiful model, and also got some utility for keeping your army in the fight, and also a little sneaky assassin in there. So, Flesh Tearer. Now, this character basically gives you Kroot the old rule that they had, which was like a 6-up feel no pain, and then if you kill a unit, you get a 5-up feel no pain. So Rites of Feasting it's called now. So while he's leading the unit, they have a 6+ feel no pain, and if you destroyed one or more enemy units in the fight phase until the end of the battle, models in that unit have the 5+ feel no pain instead. I think it's really good. Now, it's a little bit of a shame that the combats of the Cruit Shapers don't hit very hard, but the Flesh Tearer is your best version. Well, there is the Warshaper one that has the Blade, Stave, and Prey Hook, or lethal hits, Strength 5, AP 1, 2 damage, 4 attacks hit on 2s, where this guy has 4 attacks, Weapon Skill 2, Strength 5, AP 1, 1 damage. So to be fair, yes, the Blade, Stave, and the Prey Hook is better, but they're a little bit lacklusting for characters, but they're not really taken for being the Blender Lords. They're there to assist the composition of the rest of your army. So, Ritual Butchery. I love that. It's so cool. Basically, sustain hits 1. So when I talked about the enhancement of the Borthrod Glaive, the Borthrod Gland, it gives it crits on 5s. So you basically will be giving your Kroot unit sustain hits 1, but on 5+ if you take the Borthrod Gland. And there's a couple of stratagems which I'm going to go over after I've done the characters to show you what you can do. So, all the Kroot can join Farstalkers or Kroot Carnivores, and I think that's really cool because they all have the Infiltrators keyword as well. I like that. Then you've got the Kroot Lone Spear. So he's not a Shaper, but he's a lone operative mounted character, and he's quite cool because you've got a Blast Javelin like I went through before, which is just silly good. He's movement 12, quite fast, toughness 5, 5+ save, but obviously you get that sweet invuln. 6 wounds, OC2, leadership 7. So I think you'll find people taking him with the Blast Javelin rather than the Kroot Long Gun. Yes, it's got the range, but it's only got 1 shot. Damage 3, Strength 6, AP 2, but I'd rather take the D6 Blast Javelin, and it looks cool. Giving me definite Mad Max vibes. Combat, okay, look, it's minimal. I wouldn't really rely on it for combat. It's more of its special rules. So, Advanced Scouting, each time this model makes a ranged attack, until the end of each turn, each time other Kroot model from your army makes an attack, you basically get reroll hits. So it's Tetra rerolls. But it works in combat as well, that's the key thing, it works in combat. So, shooting and combat for Kroot. So it's Tetra's on crack. And then it's got a natural fire and fade in your shooting phase after this model shot, and not within engagement range. It can make a normal move up to 6, but it's not eligible to charge afterwards. Alright, cool. It's a Kroot on a Calamandra, basically an Oxyotl. It's cool, I like it. Depending on points, I can see a couple of those being taken, or at least one. So, there is one other character. Why is it hidden somewhere? Where is it? Where is he? Where is he? Where's my favourite Trail Shaper? Come on. Where are you? I will find him. Give me one moment. No, that's Shadow Sun. Farsight. We're not talking about you today, we're talking about Kroot. So basically, when I find it, Trail Shaper is tricksy little guy. He's like your Dark Strider. There we are, Trail Shaper. So, nothing really to talk about from a shooting perspective. It's just a normal Kroot rifle, normal Shaper's blade. But this is the badass Shaper that you will see in every Kroot list, and probably starring in a couple of Montcar and Kion, and even the Retaliation Cadre detachment. So, trail finding. Once per turn, when an enemy unit ends a normal, advance, or fallback move within 9 of this model's unit, if this model's unit is not within engagement range, it can make a normal move of up to d6. So note that it's not the model, it's the model's unit. So I know there's a few reactive moves out there that it's like to the model. I think Custodians have one where it's like to the guy rather than the unit. But this one is if you end within 9 of this unit, they get to reactive move d6. The tactical flexibility that offers you is so good. You can block off objectives, you can retreat away, you can make charges harder, you can move block with them, you can interfere with an enemy scoring a particular secondaries. So if you have 3 Kroot on the objective and they just put 4 models that are OC2, so that's OC8 versus your OC6, but they have to be within 9, you can then reactive move and put more models on the objective. So honestly, reactive moves are so powerful in 40k, one of the best rules. Now, Kroot Ambush is another ability that he has. It basically gives you redeploys, and it's after you determine who has the first turn. So you can redeploy this model's unit and one other friendly Kroot unit. And you could also place it into strategic reserves regardless of how many units are already in strat reserve. I mean, that in itself is worth taking 3 of them. And that's pretty much where I will go with my Kroot lists. Just 3 Trail Shapers, being able to reactive move, and note that he's the Trail Shaper, so the enhancement to give you +3 move is only available for a Trail Shaper. So you can have one of those Kroot units going super quick, and what I like to do is put this Trail Shaper with the Flesh Terror that I talked about, with the Both Rod Gland, and then suddenly this unit is going 17 inches, because it's 7-inch scout, movement 10, and charging, and it's going to have sustained hits on 5s, and if it kills you, it's going to have a 5 up Feel No Pain, and it's going to reactive move, and it's going to redeploy, and it could go into strat reserve. So, really nice little combo. So let's have a look at the stratagems before we go on to the rest of the Kroot units, because I think the key thing here about this detachment lies within your stratagems and also your discipline for how you use the army. So, we've got Join the Hunt. So, 1 Kroot Infantry or Kroot Hound units from your army that was just destroyed, you can use this stratagem on that unit even though it was destroyed. And you can basically just add a new unit to your army identical to your destroyed unit in strat reserves as its starting strength. So, you can't return destroyed characters to attach units, but that is 2 CP and it's a battle tactic. So, very, very powerful. And if you think about armies that have done that or can still do that, so like Guard, you've just got almost like Tyranids with the Endless Swarm with the Gargoyles that you tend to do. You just got this never-ending unit that keeps coming back. And opponents will have to reveal their assets to kill your asset, but they don't really kill your asset because you just come back for the cost of 2 CP. So then they revealed themselves for then you to retaliate to them, and then as long as you keep your CP to do this stratagem, you're constantly bringing back a unit. And that is really, really good for resource management. So the second stratagem, and I think this one plays very nicely into the combination that I talked about with the Trail Shaper and the Flesh Terror. So, it's a little bit wordy, but what it's basically telling you is that after a unit has resolved its attacks, select an enemy unit that was hit by one of those attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time a Kroot model from your army makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, unless the attacking unit is battle shocked, improve the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1. So what you basically do is you attack them with something, then when you shove your 20-man with the Flesh Terror and the Trail Shaper in there, you then spend the stratagem. Then you're going to be doing 40 attacks with the Kroots, hitting on 2s because they're below starting strength, rerolling everything because you've hit them with the Lone Spear. You're going to be rerolling anything that's not a 5 or a 6 because you hit on 2s, so you're going to be fishing for those crits or the sustained. So then it works out roughly around about 54 hits that are going to go through. Then you'll be strength 4, AP 1. And then if you kill the unit, you then go, I've got a now 5 up Feel No Pain. So you've got a big unit of 20 Cruit with a reactive move, 5 up Feel No Pain, 5 plus invulnerable save, and if they do happen to kill it, which will take a hell of a lot of resource to kill it, it then just comes back. But it obviously won't come back with its 5 up Feel No Pain because the Flesh Tear is not leading the unit, but you lose two characters. And then you've got a 20-man Cruit unit that comes back as well. So that, combined with this other stratagem, for example, the Grisly Feast. So the Grisly Feast, one Cruit unit from your army that destroyed one or more enemy units this phase, in your opponent's next command phase, each enemy unit within 6 of your unit must take a battle shock test. If the unit taking the test is below half strength, subtract 1 from that test. So think about it in this way. I know this is like kind of layering lots of stuff and the maximum potential of it. But if you manage to kill something small and insignificant, like, I don't know, a single spore mine or whatever it might be, right? But then you lined up your entire unit across the board. For 1 CP, you can make every single unit within 6 inches take a battle shock test. So you basically do the Tyrannid Perils of the Warp just for a CP and positioning your Cruit units. You just go, yeah, everybody take a battle shock test. And imagine somebody who was relying on their units of scouts or the small little trading pieces or action monkeys that suddenly fail battle shock and can no longer do actions. You've not only blocked the opponent in, you've actually stopped them from doing secondaries and using stratagems. So, hey look, when you layer this stuff, the power of this Kroot Detachment is really good. EMP grenades, cute, probably mostly irrelevant. So you have to be within 8 inches, and it's in their shooting or their fight phase, and you can make a vehicle weapon skill and ballistic skill worsened by 1. Okay? So, okay, might come in clutch, but half the time, no. Guerrilla Warriors. This is really good. 1 CP. Basically, fall back, shoot, charge. Nothing really to be said that. It's a great stratagem. You can use it to position your unit better and not be tied down. I like it. Dig it. It's good. And then Hidden Hunters. Basically, loan up for your Cruit unit. Your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. You can basically go, nope, loan up, thank you very much. I'm going to hide away. So, the stratagems that are battle tactics, so you've got the Trap Well Laid, which is the AP one, and the regenning the unit. The rest is strategic ploy. Now, the Kroot Detachment is funny, but kind of not fun. And I'll tell you why it's funny, but not fun. Is that if you just base your entire battle around Hidden Hunters, so loan up, and regenning a unit, then you will have a never-ending horde that continue to score. So this list that I created was 80 Kroot, so 3 units of 20, 2 units of 10. I had Lone Spear, I think I had 1 Flesh Terror, 2 Warshapers, 2 Trail Shapers. And then I just filled out the rest with, I think, 10 or 20 Pathfinders, 2 Hammerheads, 2 Riptides, and a Ghost Keel. So I added the self-sufficient units from Tau on top of the Kroot Detachment and just went, okay, well, my Hammerheads are to deal with anti-tank, my Riptides and Ghost Keel are there to actually help with elites. So the fixed game was deploy, position, move block, cleanse and homers. That was it. Regen my units, position my units, reactive move, come back, do it again. So the whole battle plan was just littering the board with angry chickens, doing cleanse and homers, because cleanse you can cleanse 2 objectives with 1 unit. So on that unit of 10, your 2 units of 10 just go out, first turn, cleanse, other one, homers. I think I had a unit of hounds as well, a couple of units of hounds. So basically just hounds, strat reserve, Cruit units, unit 10, strat reserve, and I had far stalkers as well, obviously, sorry, missing out part of the list, but it had like far stalkers as well. And it just basically was, I'm doing homers and cleanse, and I'm also scoring primaries and denying you primary because I can scout move and then loan up and then charge you and then I'll see you and keep doing shenanigans like that. So it's funny because I definitely can see it being used in a tournament where people are like, I've not planned for this. What the hell? What is this? But then with Horde armies, people start to react in the meta and then go, actually, you know what? I'm just going to take loads of flamers. And my good friend Andy Bobbin, who I played, he brought Grey Knights, and it was 3 Grandmaster Dread Knights, 3 Dread Knights, a Land Raider, and some Strike Marines and stuff. And I just ran this list of, I think it was 20 Pathfinders, Ghost Keel, 2 Riptides, 2 Hammerheads, Farstalker units, 2 Trail, 2 Warshapers, Flesh Terror. And yeah, it was just that. I think I made one mistake in like turn 3, which kind of swung it to be a little bit closer. But if I'd have just spent the stratagems of Join the Hunt and Hidden Hunters, it was just like, I can't clear this many bodies. And he had Flamers for days, he had the Incinerators, obviously Dread Knights, which I couldn't really do anything to in combat. But an interesting like learning curve was that when he shot the unit and took me down to like a single Cruit, and I had the Warshaper and the Trail Shaper in there, he didn't want to kill the rest of the unit because otherwise I'd just bring it back. So I could push that out and be like, do you want to overwatch me? No, I don't want to kill them, Kyle. And I was like, okay, cool. So I could charge them in and let them die and then bring them back. So it's going to be really oppressive because I don't think the meta is going to prepare for it. I think you just build your list around doing fixed secondaries, so cleanse, homers, score primary, deny primary. So I know a lot of people didn't get into Tau just to be a Horde army and push up Cruits. But if you're looking for an army that's going to upset a few people and you want to troll somebody for a bit of fun, then Cruit's not just a meme army, it's competitively going to be a meme army. And I certainly am going to take my... Well, I've got 270 Cruit, guys, not the new ones. I've got 250 of the old ones, 290 actually. Oh god, I've got a problem. Yeah, I've got 250 of the old Cruit, which I've got bases to rebase them on, because they're now on 28 mils, not 25s. And I've got 40 of the new Cruit, and I've got 20 Farstalkers. So, yeah, I'm gonna give it a whirl. So you'll see me at probably a UKTC event pushing around a Cruit army. But honestly, I think it's super powerful from a Horde perspective. And what's interesting with Orcs being on the next on the agenda, I'd like to. My friend plays Orcs, Jamie, so I might just say to him, let's have a Cruit versus Orc Horde off. Because I think Orcs might be a bit of a trouble, but I think if you go toe to toe with the Nid Swarm, Cruit can actually kill squishy stuff very well with the amount of attacks that they have and the shooting as well. So I'd love to have a Horde off. Just a bit of fun, right? So let's talk about some of the other units, and then we can round this off. So, Cruit Carnivores. Now, the Cruit Carnivores are really good. They're currently 55 points, and they're rumoured to go up to 75. So, I actually think that this is fair, because the Cruit have gone from OC1 to OC2, and they've gained again, a really powerful rule. Fieldcraft. Sticky objectives, basically. At the end of your command phase, if this unit's within range of an objective mark you control, it remains under your control, even if you have no models within range of it, until your opponent controls it at the start of or end of any turn. So, with the fact that you got Scout Move 7, there's various missions that you can actually Scout Move and touch an objective first turn. So, well, before first turn with your Scout Move. So then, actually, your Cruit unit could string out on 2 objectives, your home field and one in No Man's Land, and go, they're both mine, straight away. And you don't even have to put any resources on there. You just go in, and then you can move away, and then the opponent can't reach that one, but you still score the primary without giving them any unit to leapfrog. So, Shooting, oh, cool, they've got a Tangle Bomb Launcher. Sounds cute. Strength 5, no AP, 1 damage, D3 shots. Cute, but not really doing any damage. Cruit Pistols, this is the key thing, they got pistols. I'm happy at that. It means that they can just do actions in combat. Before they didn't have pistols, only Farstalkers had pistols, but now they do. Cruit Rifle, same as always, strength 4, no AP, 1 damage, rapid fire, and then 1 quill, long quill can get a Cruit Carbine, strength 4, 1 shot, 2 damage. So, let's have a look at the bodyguard rule. Put 2 Shapers in there if you have a 20-man unit. If this unit has a starting strength of 20, you can attach up to 2 leader units instead of 1. That's good. It's like I was talking about before. Flesh Tearer plus Trail Shaper, or Warshaper plus Trail Shaper. You can do nice little combos with that, and I like this touch. It makes it feel like a Cruut army. You know, Shapers, Cruut are all hovering around the leaders, adding a different kind of ability, 2 abilities to 1 unit. Feels really thematic, and I like it. So, Cruut, really good. I think even at 75 points for 10, you need to look past the fact that they, you know, got a 6-up invuln, 5-up invuln Kroot Detachment, or a 6-up save outside of the Kroot Detachment. It's the OC2. It's the Fieldcraft sticky objectives. Very, 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 very worth the points in my opinion. So, then we've got the Krutox Riders. Now, I actually quite like these. In the Kroot Detachment, I tried out a different list with a couple of them. I think it's 2 units of 3. And there's something really interesting that you can do. So, they have an ability, which is basically once per turn in your opponent's shooting phase, when a friendly Kroot infantry unit within 6 of this unit is selected as a target of an attack, 1 unit from your army with this ability can use it. If it does, after that enemy unit has finished making its attacks, that unit with its ability can shoot as if it were a shooting phase. But when resolving those attacks, it can only target the enemy unit, and only if it is an eligible target. So, right, let's look at the guns. So, the rapid fire repeater cannon is basically an auto cannon. Strength 7, AP 1, 2 damage, 2 shots. So, 6 shots, meh. But actually, the Tangle Cannon, Blast, and Heavy is where it's at. So, D6 plus 1 shots, Blast. BS4, Strength 6, no AP, 1 damage. So, if something Hordy is coming out to shoot your Kroot, then they shoot, then you can shoot back. Now, your Krutox can be actually out in the open, and you can lone up them, and then just have them as a stationary Overwatch battery. Because they could, technically, Overwatch, and then shoot as well. So, cute, not doing huge amounts of damage, but it's just a free ability. So if you position them and spend your lone up stratagem, you're just getting a free round of shooting, and then it goes into your turn next turn, you can shoot again. So I like it. I think it's good. And they're also movement 7, T6, 5 plus, 5 wounds. Not bad. In the combat, weapon skill 3, 4 attacks, strength 6, AP 1, 2 damage. So they can, you know, beat around. They can beat up some stuff, kill some marines. Rampages. The new models. They're gorgeous. I think, depending on points, you're going to see them being used, but from a competitive standpoint, I'm struggling to see how they'll fit in. Same stat lines as a Krutox. Their combat gain sustain hits 1 and extra attacks. So 4 attacks, strength 6, AP 1, 2 damage with sustain hits 1. So if you have a unit 3, because they come in units 3, you're going to get 2 of them will have a sustained. You could fish for lone up from the Lone Spear to reroll all hits and get an extra one maybe. And then the Hunting Blades have Lance, which it's fair enough. He is holding a lance, a spear, but I would have liked Lance on the Rampager Fists. I would have liked Lance on the whole model, basically. So, he has 3 attacks, strength 4, AP 1, 1 damage, Lance. But the key thing is the Kroot line breakers. So, in the charge phase, select one unit with engagement range, roll a d6 for each model in the unit that is within engagement range. On a 4+, the enemy suffers d3 mortal wounds. So you have 3 Rampages. You'll probably get between maybe 1 and 2, probably 2 if you're lucky. You might get all 3, and then you're doing D3 wounds. So on average, you're doing between 2 and 4 mortal wounds. Now that application could be smartly applied to the charge phase, where you can charge the Rampages in, charge another unit in, kill, let's just say it's like 1 or 2 models left. You could then kill them by the mortal wounds. So we've established 2 to 4, so you need to make sure you factor that into your calculation. Then they die, and then your other unit of Kroot and the Rampages are still eligible to pile in and attack into something else. So if you position your unit correctly, you could then kill them in the charge phase with the mortal wounds from the Kroot Rampages, and then still pile in after they're dead and go and attack something else. So I think you can really play around with combinations like that. But again, these are very situational tactics, but again, something to be aware of. Now, obviously, they have grenades as well, and all the Kroot pretty much have grenades. And they also have Scout 7. But outside of that, I think the Kroot Rampages will need to be low opt or placed into Strat Reserve for rapid ingress, so you can get the optimal charges off, because they are not infantry, so they're going to struggle with terrain, with only movement 7. Low opt will help you, but outside of the Kroot Detachment, they are a thing to obviously just put in Strat Reserve for rapid ingress and have them just hold stuff up. Now, there may be a need for them when it comes to Orcs, but we'll see. But overall, love the models, situational rules, and it's going to be situational for competitiveness. Kroot Hounds. So, good old Kroot Hounds. Looping Pounds. Basically, in the command phase, if they're within 6 of Kroot infantry units, they get to advance and charge. And Hunting Hounds, when they're within 12 of a friendly Kroot character, they're OC 1. Hey look, fast guys, they've lost Scout Move 9, they got Scout Move 7, Movement 12, so that's 19, plus an advance, an average of 3, which is obviously going to be, quick maths, 22, so 22 plus a charge. So, not bad, so an average of 29 inches, but can potentially go up to 37. Because movement 12, Scout move 7, that's 19, plus 6, 25, plus 12 on the charge, 37 inches. And if you happen to have a character trailed out and they've not protected their home field, maybe capture any outpost. But we're going cleansing homers, so we don't care. So just being able to tie up stuff, tie up vehicles that are not going to kill the Hounds. The Hounds come in units of 5 now, not 4, so it's 5 or 10, and they're rumoured to be 35 points. So again, cheap little units go and do actions, can play about with objectives, but more importantly use as a move blocking and charging tar pit. Farstalkers are still one of my favourite models in the entire game. They're gorgeous, and if you haven't picked up a set, honestly, you will not regret it. They are so nice to build and paint, and they're so thematic as well. It's like Pirate Kroot, love it. Effectively, they're a massive unit because they get 2 Hounds in there. You can infiltrate them, so you can string them out across pretty much the entire board and block out enemy infiltrators. So if you just wanted to sacrifice them and go, I don't want you infiltrating anywhere, then you put them 9 inches away from the deployment line, string them all the way out, do your dog bone at the 2 ends, string them all out in the centre, and job's done. And then if you go first, brilliant, you can just go and tag stuff. Now, the shooting, the lethal wits, the precision outside of the little combo that I talked to you about with the Warshaper, with his little special gun, bow and arrow, they're not really there to do damage. They're there for infiltration units, and the 2 Hounds and the Kill Broker. The Kill Broker's on a slightly bigger base, so they're all on 28 mils, but the Kill Broker's on a 32, and then you got the 2 Hounds. So you can actually string out the unit even further, and it can help you get into position for things like doing a homers. So you can like move the Kill Broker because it's in the bigger base, and then move the Hounds 12 but still keep within 2 to just touch the edge of a deployment zone. So I think the size of the base of the Kill Broker and the movement 12 for the Hounds allows you to even move further to help get you certain secondaries. Outside of that, meh. But I think from a Kroot perspective, for final thoughts, what I would say is, key thing is, the one thing that they struggle with is dealing with tanks. So you have to put in hammerheads. And hammerheads are really good because they get +1 to hit vehicles, so they'll be hitting 3s. And if you just take, you know, a unit of Pathfinders, you can spot for 2 hammerheads. So they'll be hitting on 2s. You could put in Shadow Sun in there if you really wanted to for reroll 1s, but I think at that point you're just taking away points from the core list design. So hammerheads to deal with anti-tank, Riptides to deal with anti-elites, and then the rest of it can just be Kroot. And honestly, I think that is super powerful, and I think a smart player will definitely consider that for tournaments, and I think it's going to upset the meta. People aren't going to be predicting Horde Tau, and I think Kroot are definitely going to fill that niche for us when it comes to not only playing a Horde, but just being able to do a very fixed game plan. Cleanse, homers, cleanse, homers, primary, 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 deny primary, bring back unit, so on, so forth. The rest of the tricks are kind of cute, kind of snazzy, little combinations that you can do to pull off some interesting combos, but outside of it, let's be honest, the simplicity is cleanse and homers, and then also bring back a unit, and then loan up, and that's it. So Kroot, powerful. It's good to see them on the table. It's good that they've had some really nice models, and I'm going to carry on practicing this stupid Kroot list, but I'm also practicing other detachments. So I'm going to be doing other videos later on in the week about the other detachments. I hope this one has been of interest. I personally feel that people aren't talking enough about the Kroot, hence why I thought I'd do the detachment review on the Kroot today. But anyway, thank you very much for your time, and have a great day. Thank you very much. See you later.